Welcome to the V2V podcast with Shorts and Aurelius, episode 30. Today, we're talking about the rules of pimping. Here's a hint. It ain't easy.
Yeah, people shouldn't do this. Seriously, they shouldn't. They should not start a podcast. There's really no reason to do it.
Yeah.
It's a stupid idea.
Yeah.
You're not going to get popular. No one's going to listen to it.
Your subscribers certainly aren't going to listen to it.
Well, even if you have subscribers, they're not going to, do anything. You can't get people to do stuff from a podcast. You can't tell people to go, anything. No one's going to take any action from what they hear on a podcast.
It's true.
Zero influence is what I'm saying. So you shouldn't start a podcast, but there are ways to create a successful podcast. And the way to do that is simply to say yes.
Absolutely.
Are you saying yes?
Yes.
I actually have people around me saying yes, too, at the moment. About, how they want to start a successful podcast, but you know what's going to happen? They're all going to fail.
Yes.
And now one guy's looking at me like, were you talking to me? He's over there on the couch going, what, you talking about me? I'm not, by the way. I don't want to get into any kind of confrontation. So, yeah, it's cool to have an audience, a live audience today. And what, this is going to fucking go out on the internet? Are you fucking stupid? And the answer is yes. Sure. Paradise Cove did not burn up, but Paradise, California did.
Yes.
Is Paradise, California near Paradise Cove?
I don't think so. I mean, it's not too far away, but I don't think it's the same thing.
Oh, whoa. No, he just corrected me. So Paradise, California burned up. Paradise Cove near Malibu also burned up.
Yeah.
What the fuck? That's not right. There's something. Wait, I thought the place was called Pleasure.
I did too.
That's what the president said. He called it Pleasure.
I like pleasure.
And raking the forest floor.
It's so funny. It's so funny because all these Finland people are now going out with rakes and taking pictures of themselves, raking the forest and stuff.
Yeah, and you know what's funny about that too? It's raining and wet in Finland right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Icy and snowy. Yeah.
They're raking the forest floor covered with snow and ice.
Yep.
But there's not going to be any fires over there. It's huge. It's tremendous.
Man. Huge.
It's really difficult not to get pulled back into the Trumposphere.
Yeah.
As much as you want to avoid it, because I think, as we said, it's a good idea to avoid it, he's kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
It's seeping into, the collective unconsciousness of the world.
It's just impossible. His reach is so vast, and everyone loves it, and it's so much fun. It's funny. He's fun.
It is pretty funny. No, I agree. It is kind of fun in a really morbid way.
Yeah.
I remember back in the back in college, in fact, back in the 90s, my friends and I would sit around and talk about how we were witnessing the end of an empire. It was back 20 years ago, it was it's all collapsing.
Reagan?
That may be more true now than it was then.
It may be more scientifically proven, even though, everyone in our administration denies that. But
it's so
yeah,
weird, man.
we're just in. It's like we're in a car, and we can see that we're going 100 miles per hour with our foot on the gas, and there's this wall up ahead, and we're laughing, and we're smiling at it, and we're making jokes at it, because it's just so morbid. There's no other way to handle it.
The big orange wall.
Yeah, the
It's a
huge
big orange
wall. It's this fat orange wall.
Ah, right. And maybe maybe it's just an illusion, and we're just gonna like go right through the wall without any harm, or the wall will keep receding back from us just faster than we're traveling, or we're just gonna smash into the wall and like we'll hit eternity. I can't say that word. Eternity, like oblivion.
Yeah.
Either way, I guess it's fine. Maybe that's why we're laughing so much, because
Maybe.
it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here come the police.
Yeah. No, it's the fire engine.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, it's just, something's on fire. Yeah.
Oh, great. Something else on fire. Maybe it's just a heart attack.
That too.
Yeah, I mean, that would be, I guess, preferable.
Someone's ass is on fire and they called 911.
That would be an appropriate time.
Yeah.
Call.
It's coming back this way now. It turned around and came back.
Maybe they're done.
It's just one truck too.
There was a quick stop, and they handled business in a few seconds, and now headed to another call real quick.
Yeah.
Imagine these overworked paramedics just
back and forth. Yeah.
Back and forth.
It's just a burning asshole. Let's go to the other one.
Right. Problem solved.
Yeah.
So the how to be a pimp idea was way too dark.
Well, not really. I mean, it is, but I thought that joke.
I mean,
I didn't get that you were going into a joke, and that's why it made me that first part of the joke was really dark. The joke is brilliant, though.
Well, it wasn't really intended to be a joke. It was kind of intended to be an idea to maybe discuss. I don't really know who would benefit from that.
No.
I'm sure there are people out there who are curious about, what it takes to be a pimp.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure if it's really a viable career option.
No.
I mean, there are 10 rules though.
Yeah, let me hear.
Okay, so these are 10 rules regarding how to be a pimp by an actual alleged pimp. Okay, so these are rules to the game of hoes. And the first rule is always make them need and depend on you so you have power over them. Power is control.
Okay.
So, I mean, how would one make sure that someone always needs and depends on you? You would.
That's kind of vague, but yeah, I mean,
well, you would deprive them of resources so that.
Yeah.
They have nowhere else to turn but you to meet their needs.
Correct.
That sounds horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. Right off the bat, it's doesn't sound like a very nice profession. Inhumane for sure. Or you're just a parent.
Yeah.
right? I mean, kids need and depend on their parents, so and parents
Sure.
certainly have power over their children.
And most pimps go for younger girls anyway, so yeah.
Right. Yeah, okay. Number 2, make them understand that you don't need them. They need you. They are replaceable. Never let them know if you need them deep down inside. Because sometimes, you might have a sensitive pimp heart, and the reality is that you really do need them, but you can never let on that that's true.
Well, also, they're your cash cow, so they're how you're surviving every night.
Right, but you need to put up a front so that
that's not
it's not
seen.
obvious and that they're replaceable, just like in an employer-employee relationship. Like, we've worked jobs where, I've said to myself, like, oh, if I leave, like, this place is going to suffer so badly because, I'm the only one who knows what's going on here. I'm the best worker. And, then something happens, you leave the job and then a year later, they're doing just fine. Like, they really didn't need you. Yeah. It's running great and then, so that's basically true that, you don't need them, they need you. That's rule number 2. Rule number 3 is never let no one get away with sneaking anything, because once they feel they can get away, they will always scheme. Yep. Don't let anyone get away with anything. They're sneaking around, doing stuff.
Yeah.
And even if you know about it, and you're letting them, like, sneak around, and they're going to keep doing it.
Right.
Well, why wouldn't? Of course, why wouldn't?
Yeah.
So how do you not let anyone get away with sneaking anything? You say, hey, I saw you sneaking. Stop that immediately.
Right.
Because then if they feel they can't get away with it, then they'll stop scheming, apparently.
I mean, that's kind of very vague as well.
It is vague. Number 4, no matter how much you like or care for one or any of them, don't trust none of them. Like Scarface. Who do I trust? Me. That's who.
Right.
Don't trust anyone. Even if you like them or care about them.
I mean, I guess the moral of the story is if you're in a crime industry as your profession, you shouldn't trust anyone because criminals are criminals and everyone's a criminal.
Right, because like you're putting people into a position of like coercion and duress and pretending like you're not.
Yeah.
It's interesting that these rules for pimps really seems to also apply to other situations like like parenting or employment.
Yeah, or troubled teen industries, or
Sure, troubled teen industries for sure.
Right, that's what I thought this was when I first read it. When you first posted it to me, that's what I thought it was about.
Oh, of course. Well, it certainly applies because I mean the leaders of any kind of institution, really of any kind, also really should, to be successful, kind of abide by these rules.
Yeah.
Number 5 is always stay 2 steps ahead of the game you have them playing. Right.
Yeah.
Well, sure. It's like a lawyer asking questions of a suspect. Like you already know the answers to the questions that you're asking. You just want to make sure that they're answering you honestly. But you know ahead of time like what the truth is. So that, in that sense, you're ahead of them, even though you're pretending like, you're getting information. It's just like testing their loyalty or honesty, saying
Right.
A couple steps ahead, right? I mean, and that can be kind of, I guess, not so ominous or bad. I mean, of course, you want if you're the boss, you should know more than the people that are working for you. Otherwise, they should be the boss.
Yeah, that's kind of the role. Yeah.
All right. Number 6, don't let them know all your plans, but always try to know their plans. So, hey, what's your plan? Like, oh, my plan is to hit the street and be a hoe. So like that's their plan. And maybe the hoe is like, hey, what's your plan? And you're like, well, I'm deciding not to tell you what my plans are.
Right.
But I might go to the store later, so maybe you tell them a little bit about your plan, but not all of your plan. Like they might need, they might need to know where you're at. So hey, I'm going to be over here on the corner,
right,
doing what pimps do on the corner,
right,
and the hoe is going to be doing what hoes do on the other side of town.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know, or he, to be fair, doesn't know, what you're up to on the corner. They just know that's where you're at.
Correct.
Okay. So far, so good. I think I'm really getting the idea of what it takes to be a pimp.
Yeah.
Number 7 is pretty epic. Make sure you own their minds, bodies, and souls. And test that out every so often to make sure.
Yikes.
I'm not even sure what the test for that would be.
No.
Like, do you just ask you, hey, who owns your mind? Oh, you, your body. Oh, that would also be you, and your soul, also you. That's a pretty high bar.
Yeah, it just means sort of being violent or being aggressive or being inhumane.
Well, that's another
every
part
once
of
in a while.
being a successful pimp is that, in every case, you want to avoid, it's tricky because you want to avoid force or violence or obvious coercion, because when you put people in those kinds of environments, they're bound to leave. So it's just very subtle to be able to gain that kind of total control over somebody.
Right.
So it really gets into more of like a brainwashing situation where you want to make sure that they're totally dependent on you, and then also let people know that if they leave, they're going to suffer not by your hand, but by the world is going to come get you without your protection.
And always, you have to always paint the outside world as much worse than what's going on in the situation that they're in. That's
sure,
kind of
and
really
in a lot
important.
of cases, right. Yeah, and in many cases, all you have to do is illustrate their lives before you got involved. Like, so you remember what it was like before?
Right.
It's going to be even worse. Right. All right.
Well, Marcus, you're going to be a great pimp someday.
Thanks, man. I'm really
learning the ropes. Learning the ropes.
Yeah, the game of pimping, and there's some interesting parallels between an actual like pimp who sells women for sex and then keeps all their money, and the real world too. We can get into that when we're done with the rules. We're at number 8, so always keep. It says her. But so I'm just going to go with that because generally speaking, hoes are female, but there are male hoes too. Of course.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be sexist here. So keep her on the low as possible when it comes to family and haters, because you can't trust none of them. Like your family, her family. People that don't like pimps or hoes, like you need to avoid them as much as possible. Because that's not your client base anyway.
Yeah, but also for mind control, you need to avoid any new information about the outside world or this other life contaminating your product.
Sure. That's true. This rule is more specifically for the pimp himself or herself, so that you're not influenced by outside forces either. Like, you need to keep your head in the game, and you can't be dealing with family telling you that you should probably find a new profession, or the generic hater who's like, I don't like pimps. Like, you don't have any time for that.
Right.
Number 9 is pretty simple. Always try to know what's going on. And here's an interesting little side note. Make them tell on each other. So you want the hoes to give you information about the other hoes. Like, hey, did so-and-so, I don't know, did so-and-so show up to work today? Maybe not. No, she didn't.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's coercion. And that creates coercion. Yeah.
Right. It's definitely that kind of peer-to-peer conflict that you want to kind of create to
correct,
to create uncertainty and the feeling of paranoia that anyone that you see could be spying or telling on you.
Well, also it's creating lack of pure bonding, and bonding would create a strength, possibly, against whoever's holding them captive in some way.
Right. So
it's just a very, very tricky thing to do. If you do that means you're really kind of stepping into the brainwashing line, because that's really 101. You know?
Yeah, and generally speaking, a pimp will have a main hoe who is kind of like the operations manager. Who keeps track of the day-to-day things. But then you also, you want to create this dissonance between even your top hoe and the other ones, to always create that sense of uncertainty and stop that bonding or unionization process from happening, because you don't want all your hoes coming together, because then you're out. They'll just say, oh, they'll realize, oh, we don't even need the pimp. We can go be sex workers on our own. And finally, rule number 10, give respect when respect is due. That's pretty vague.
Yeah.
I can't, good job hoeing today.
Yeah, nice job taking 42 penises in your asshole and making me $45,000. Get the
Sure,
step.
here's some top ramen.
Yeah.
And then get dressed because I'm going to go parade you around later,
Again.
like you're my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you follow these rules, you should be Gucci.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean,
Can we get the joke, though?
The joke?
Well, the thing that turned out to be quite funny that you came up with.
Oh, the pimp test?
Yeah.
Oh, the pimp test is
The pimp test.
the pimp test is cold. It's cold-blooded.
It's really cold.
It's really cold. So if any of these rules appeal to you, like that, oh, okay, I understand the rules of pimping now. The next step is to really ask yourself whether or not you're cold-blooded enough to actually follow through with this. And there's a test. It's pretty brutal. So the idea is that you get, say, your girlfriend, you convince her to approach your best friend and she asks him to sleep with her for $100 without mentioning your name. Like, you're not really involved. It's just, hey, there's your best friend sitting around. Oh, here comes the girl, the girlfriend of my friend. And she's like, hey, I'll let you sleep with me if you pay me $100. So then, if that happens, then the girl brings you the $100, gives you the $100, and then without telling her, you go back to your, I guess now, ex-friend and give him back his $100 without really saying a word. Like, so what happens is you've created a hoe and a trick, and she never knows that the guy got the $100 back. The friend didn't know that you were going to get the $100 to begin with, and you just create this weird circle of not goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what that does is it turns you into a pimp and a really bad person too.
A horrendous person.
Yeah.
And a horrible, horrible boyfriend and a horrible friend. Just horrible.
Well, you don't have.
general.
At that point, you don't have a girlfriend anymore.
No.
And you don't have a friend anymore. You've manipulated a situation into you becoming an actual pimp. The other parties have responsibility here, though, too. It's important to recognize that, like, in a big way, because all you did was promote the idea that at any step in this process, if someone says no, then game over. You don't get involved and say, no, you go do, like, it just,
right.
That's not the part that it's the power of suggestion and manipulation and getting people who are, for whatever reason, broken enough to think that this is a good idea. So it's really about taking advantage of people who, because of the authority of the bad idea, and taking advantage of people's worst impulses.
Right.
Like, nobody's a winner here.
No. And if everyone's weak, then in that circle, if everyone is weak, and everyone agrees, everyone is fucking idiot, and everyone deserves to fucking lose $100.
See, the reason there's more responsibility on the pimp, or is that you're leaving out information from the other parties. Like,
yes,
you're not saying that, you're not telling the guy that you sent her. You're not telling him that he's going to get the money back. How humiliating would that be? I can't imagine. I can't imagine saying
See, the reason I thought it was a joke, I thought it was a joke was I got the last part wrong. And like, if you change this last part around, it is actually quite funny.
So say it the way you thought it was.
Okay. So the pimp test is that you get your girlfriend to ask your best friend to sleep with her for $100. He does it. You take the money, give it back to your girlfriend.
Oh. Well,
so it's
that
like,
would be
because that's usually the way it goes anyway in a relationship. The girl ends up spending your money, but that's kind of, I don't know why I thought it was funny. Like, I'm stupid, but yeah, this is a really dark thing.
That would just be like I don't know what you call that. Like, you'd be like a free pimp. Like, here, I'm just gonna be like a employment guy. Like, hey, you need a job, girlfriend? Oh, like, here's an idea. Go ask all my buddies if they'll sleep with you for money, and then you give me the money, and I'll give it back to you.
Yeah, I feel really stupid for thinking this was a joke at all, or for laughing at it. Like, I just read it wrong. Usually my dyslexia fucks everything up, but I'm going to blame it on my dyslexia. I'm not a sick human being. It wasn't a joke. This is really bad. Don't try the pimp test at home.
I can't imagine anyone. See, that's the craziest part about all this. Like, you wouldn't want to know anybody who would do that, or any of these people. Like,
no,
these are horrible people.
Everyone's fucking horrible.
But what's interesting is we live in a world that works on some of these principles. The idea is that you're either metaphorically a pimp, a trick, or a hoe. Meaning, you either are the boss, you're a client, or you're an employee. And the levels that goes down, like, even at the highest levels of, like, employment, like, you're the CEO, but the corporation that you work for is, in fact, your pimp who cuts your paycheck.
Yeah.
And so you're just a prostitute, and the people that you sell bad products to are the clients.
It also like that sort of triangle reminds me of every single Melrose Place episode, every single Beverly Hills 90210 episode, or every single soap opera episode I've ever seen in my life. It's like there are always these characters that are always playing these roles in it, and it fucks everything up. It's like
it's a rude awakening to kind of get to this point of understanding that this is really the world that we live in. Aside from not even the sex stuff, but that we're all preyed upon by these unknown, not understood figures who are these like metaphorical pimps who run everything, and you're either working for them for nothing, really, like the value of the labor that you provide is obviously way more valuable than what you end up getting, because that's the way capitalism works.
Yeah.
You can't get paid the true value for your labor. Otherwise, you would be the one running the show. So there has to be a cut taken to for the master. And
right.
If you're a salesman and you're selling whatever, a toaster to some sucker who, for like, obviously, again, way more than it's really worth, you have to sell it to that person for way more than it's really worth, because otherwise you would starve. And then part of that again goes to the boss. It's just, it's really a pyramid, it's that triangle that we were talking about.
The first con man cons the next con man, who cons the next con man, who cons the next con man.
Indeed.
This is capitalism.
It really is, with the illusion of love mixed into it, which is all, it's all horrible. Like, the idea of like self-actualization, to be all that you can be, it's, there's not a way out, is what we're saying. So,
no.
And that's why, that's why people shouldn't start podcasts, because, ultimately, you end up just talking about pimps and hoes.
Right.
Right. But we did do it successfully, though.
Indeed, we have. We have accomplished this.
Well, because we said yes.
Right.
But not to the pimp test. Do not say yes to the pimp test, people. Don't do it.
No.
Don't do that. Well, I didn't know that we were going to be talking about how to be a pimp today. That's interesting.
Yeah, it is quite interesting. It's quite an interesting topic, actually. I don't think anyone else has fucking talked about that before, the podcast or on YouTube. I don't know if there are any, I'm sure there are some, videos about it, but they're not as good as this one.
No, but we're not going to be any more successful than any other episode about how to be a pimp either. We're just going to stay kind of down near the bottom, just trolling the ocean floors of YouTube. Well, and that's fine, ultimately.
Sure.
There was this a friend of mine has a fairly new podcast, and from our point of view, he's doing pretty good, really well. He's got 13,000 subscribers, and several thousand views on each video on a regular basis. And then I was listening to a much larger podcast the other day, and someone mentioned the idea that you think what was it? It was something about that podcast, or using the example of a little tiny show that only has 20 or 30,000 subscribers, and that was so little and so bad. You're just super tiny. So
Yeah.
so it's all relative. So that makes me
Sure.
feel not so bad about, a few hundred people listening to us every week. I mean, we get like 1,000 people a week. It's kind of unreal to think, but we get like 1,000 people a week checking us out, and that's cool. Like,
That's really cool.
Because I really enjoy. I really think we have a good, like, solid base of listeners who really enjoy what we're doing. And the reason I think that is because I'm starting to hear more and more from them that what we're doing is entertaining and worthwhile. So it's cool. Episode 30, and we're going to keep going.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
I mean, for
That's
me,
great.
I just like having a place to be creative. I've never had like a canvas to paint on before, and I feel like I can paint here, or like draw my art, and do art.
I'm super glad that we decided to do this. Like, from the beginning, we understood that was really what it was about, that creative outlet, and maybe other people would be into it, maybe not, but even if they weren't, we have at this point like 200 plus videos of varying degrees of quality.
Yeah.
Like, that's a real archive of the last 6 months of our lives and kind of what we've been up to, and the cool thing is people are finding it interesting.
Right.
That's awesome. Like, it's just cool. And so I'm
I really
happy
love
that
it.
we started to do this.
Yeah, me too.
Yay.